Korean War. After World War II, Korea was freed from Japan colonial. But it faced a new challenge, division along the 38th parallel. This division was established by the United States and the Soviet Union, who were the dominant power at the time. The Soviet Union's power at the time controlled the North, and the United States controlled the South. So, North Korea. North Korea under USSR influence adopted a communist ideology led by Kim Il-sung. The regime aimed to create a self-reliant socialist state. And for the South Korea, under US influence, on the other hand, they adopted a capitalist system led by Syngman-rhee. The government focused on rebuilding the economy through industrialization. And moving on to the ideology tensions between the two Koreas. The Cold War was characterized by the rivalry between the communist blocs led by the communist bloc led by the Soviet Union and the capitalist bloc led by the United States. Both superpowers sought to spread their respective ideology and gained influence around the world.
Right now, let me mention about the North Korean invasion. In the early morning Sunday 4 o'clock of June 25, 1950, North Korean forces under the command of Kim Il-sung crossed the 38th parallel and launched a surprise attack on the South Korea. Around 75,000 troops of the North Korean People's Army defeated the Republic of Korea Army with success. The invasion was swift and decisive, and South Korean forces were quickly overwhelmed. Within days, North Korean troops had captured Seoul. The South Korean capital, Seoul, fell in 3 days, then occupying the South Korea except for Busan. Moving on to the UN intervention. The United States under President Harry Truman reached swiftly to the North Korean invasion, fearing that the invasion was part of the wider Soviet Communist plan to expand its influence in Asia. That is, if Korea fell, so would all the countries to the ideology. South Korea appealed for support, and the United States pushed a resolution through the United Nations Security Council. The USSR did not use its veto power as it was a boycotting council because the new communist China was not accepted. In China said was a pro-US North Korea. In China said was the pro-US Chinese nationalist government of Taiwan. An appeal was made by the Security Council for North Korea to withdraw its troops, but was ignored. As a result, approval was granted for the UN Army made an international force of 60 nations to send help to South Korea, commanded by General MacArthur. The UN troops, composed mainly of American, landed in South Korea in early July, but were soon pushed back on defense by North Korean force, forming a perimeter around Busan to defend the line until reinforcements arrived in August. Now, their position was strengthened. MacArthur went on the offensive.
The first major turning point is the Incheon landing. The Incheon landing or the Battle of Incheon was a pivotal military operation led by General MacArthur from September 15 to September 19 in 1950. The successful operation at Incheon had turned the tide of the Korean War. The United Nations forces was able to break out of the defensive perimeter and launch a successful counter-offensive towards the capital of South Korea. This had a significant psychological impact which boosted the morale of United forces and dealt a blow to their opponents. Moreover, General MacArthur's leadership was praised for his bold and innovative strategy. The successful Incheon landing also had international implications, showing the United Nations capability in pushing back against communist aggressive and gaining the support from other nations. The second major turning point is the Chinese and United Nations intervention. In response to the intervention, the United Nations Security Council passed the resolution calling for the withdrawal of North Korea forces and authorizing member states to provide military assistance to South Korea. However, in October 1950, Chinese forces crossed the Yalu River and entered the war on the side of North Korea, catching the United Nations forces off guard. The intervention had significant impacts on the war, preventing the complete defeat of North Korea and leading to prolonged conflict. Chinese motive was to protect their border from the unified US-aligned Korea and to show their strength as a communist power, and their involvement escalated the conflict and caused heavy casualties on both sides. Eventually, the war ended in 1953 with an agreement that maintained a divided Korea on the 38th parallel. The third major turning point is the limited war strategy. The U.S. policy of limited war during President Truman's administration aimed to contain communism without escalating conflicts with major powers like China or Soviet Union. It began in response to communist expansion, particularly in Asia, and was evident to the careful management of military operations in Korea and subsequent conflicts like the Vietnam War. The policy of limited war influenced military strategy, emphasizing conventional forces and avoiding action that could trigger the broader hostilities. And the last major turning point is the humanitarian crisis. The war had a devastating impact on Korean Peninsula, resulting in millions of civilian casualties and widespread construction. It also left a long-lasting division between North and South Korea.
1945, post-World War II. Korea was divided along the 38th parallel into the Soviet-supported North and the American-backed South zones. This division arose from the Potsdam Conference to administer the surrendering Japanese forces. Intended as a temporary measure, it led to the establishment of separate governments in the North and South Korea under different ideologies. Cold War tensions prolonged the division, setting the stage for Korean War's outbreak in 1950, resulting in the lasting division between North and South Korea. 1950. North Korea invasion prompts the UN intervention. However, very next month, September, successful Incheon landing shift the momentum. In October, Chinese entry alters the dynamics, leading to a stalemate, prolonging the fights and negotiations for resolution begin. 1951. Heavy fighting persists, resulting in a brutal deadlock, and negotiations commence at the Panmunjom for a potential resolution. Furthermore, General Ridgway takes over the UN forces, succeeding MacArthur due to strategic differences. President Truman dismisses MacArthur for advocating an expansionist approach conflicting with the limited war policies. Despite talks, no significant progress toward ending the conflict is made. 1953. On July 27, 1953, an armistice was signed at the Panmunjom, halting the fight and establishing a ceasefire. The military zone, or DMZ, agreement led to decree. DMZ is a buffer zone along the 38th parallel dividing North and South Korea. 1960, the aftermath of the Korean Wars. North Korea remains to be the communist nation and has developed nuclear weapons, while South Korea has prospered due to, in part, to aid from the US and other nations as it has worked on improving its industries and foreign trade. 1957, South Korea adopted free elections.
Conclusion: the Korean Wars was a civil war between the South and North Korea, involving communist and conservative groups. After the World War II, Korea was liberated by the Allies and divided into the parts. The US occupied southern half and Soviet Union occupied northern half. The war has significant theoretical implications, including a proxy war between the US and Soviet Union and the significant impact on China's relationship with the US. The Korean War resulted in the 3 million deaths, half civilian and 40,000 American deaths, with over 100,000 wounded. The conflict caused widespread destruction, displacement, and particularly in the north, and impaired the treatment and exchange of the prisoner. The legacy of the war, post-war animosity and failure to South Korea adopting democracy and capitalism. While North Korea remained the communist state, South Korea had experienced rapid industry and global competitiveness, while North Korea relied on the foreign aid and military support. The violence discussed, including border skirmishes, espionage attempts, and kidnapping. Both Korea have developed their own government and create war orphan and divide family.
So to make a long story short, as we know, the Korean War was such a tragedy and a painful chapter in history. However, it offered valuable lesson guidance for navigating international relations and promoting peace, security in the world by prioritizing diplomacy, which are essential tools for preventing war, embracing our control measures that aim to limit development, production, and deployment of weapons. Also, fostering reconciliation, which means that it's healing the wound of war and strengthening international cooperation and recognizing the limitation of military force. So, by learning from the past and applying the lessons, can strive to create a world where peace and security prevail for all. Thank you.